Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you a 2012 team preview for the Green Bay Packers. We're going to start with their offense to see what we can expect the Packers to look like this season. You'd be hard-pressed to win an argument saying that Aaron Rodgers is not the best quarterback in the National Football League. Let me read you some numbers. Over the last 3 seasons, this young man has compiled over 133 touchdowns and only 8 interceptions. 8 interceptions in 3 years, that's impressive. And this is not a dink and dunk type of offense where you make the safe passes. This is a vertical passing attack. So this guy throws with tremendous accuracy, great arm strength and velocity, and also uses his legs very well to create even more openings in the passing game. Packers fans should appreciate what they have right now, and Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks we've seen in a long time. But the battle right here at the quarterback spot is in the backup position. You look at Graham Harrell competing with rookie B.J. Coleman. That's a battle that is going to be intriguing to watch throughout the preseason, as both guys, in my opinion, have tremendous talent. This is the one question mark I have about the Packers offense. It's the ground game. James Starks is going to be the full-time starter this year. Ryan Grant is gone. He hasn't been re-signed. They have to make sure they get Starks out there for 16 full games. If he can do so, this team will be a lot more dangerous this year because of the ability to run the football. Without that ability, it makes it easier to game plan for the Packers. So the running game has to come in and step up huge this season. Alex Green from out of Hawaii, the guy they drafted a couple years ago, has to step up his play as well. They need some type of threat out of the backfield in order to be even more dangerous than they were last year. The Green Bay Packers have one of the best wide receiving cores in the league. You see the guy right there, Jermichael Finley, should return back to his 2009-2010 form. What makes these guys special is their ability to get off bump press, number one, and also to win the individual matchups. This passing game of the Green Bay Packers needs these wide receivers to win the individual matchups, the one-on-one matchups, and also create their own separation. Every receiver on the roster, Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson, does a great job of doing that. I want to see more increased role from Randall Cobb. He was an outstanding returner last year, only had 25 receptions. Look for him to be more of a factor in the slot and have a lot more success. So the Green Bay Packers receivers all catch the back shoulder throws. That's a staple in this offense, and they do a great job of walling off defenders, which is why I think this receiving core is quite possibly the best in the league. The Packers have to replace 2 key veteran pieces on that offensive line, but I think they did a great job in preparing themselves for that. Gone is Chad Clifton, gone is Scott Wells, but they drafted Brian Bulaga last year. This guy should step in at right tackle. You look at Derek Sherrod, he's coming off a broken leg, but I think he can play exceptionally well. And they bring over Jeff Saturday, the center, the longtime center for the Indianapolis Colts. So it may be a different look, but I think with the veteran leadership they have on this roster already, you know, guys like T.J. Lang, Marshall Newhouse, and Josh Sitton, these guys should be fine this year. It's going to look different, and it's going to take them time to gel and get the continuity down, but I think this group can equal last year's success. The Packers run a 3-4 defense, and they wanted to get more pass rush, more pressure guys up front next to B.J. Raji, the outstanding nose tackle. They were able to accomplish that this year in the draft. I look at some guys that they were able to pick up. You look at Jarrell Worthy, big playmaker out of Michigan State. I think this guy is going to be a stud at that 5 technique position. They also drafted a young guy out of Iowa in Mike Daniels. Keep an eye on him in the 4th round. Another guy that has a lot of pass rushing ability. Now you have depth on that defensive line with Ryan Pickett and company. They also bring over Daniel Muir from the Indianapolis Colts. He was formerly of the Green Bay Packers, so he's coming back into the fold. And I like the way they're going defensively. If they can get pressure from the defensive line, we know the linebackers can definitely bring the heat. The Green Bay Packers make their money defensively with Clay Matthews and company. This guy is one of the premier outside linebackers in the league. One thing he does, never stops hustling, very relentless, and is always making a big play. Where he needed help last year was on the opposite side. They needed to find someone in the draft, in free agency, to come in and take some pressure off him so that way he doesn't get double teamed or get chipped at the line of scrimmage. So they went in the draft and took Nick Perry out of USC, a guy that does play a little stiff at times, but you can't deny his burst to the quarterback, his closing speed. That's what makes him a special talent. I think he's going to do a good job as a rookie for the Green Bay Packers. I'm also intrigued to see guys like Desmond Bishop, who overtook A.J. Hawk's starting position. I've always thought A.J. Hawk was a slightly overrated type of player. Never should have been picked that high in the draft. But Desmond Bishop, team him up next to DJ Smith, and I like that combination. Those two guys are speedy, athletic, they make plays, and now you can put A.J. Hawk in a situation where he can be more successful as a nickel backer, as a guy that's going to come in on passing downs and play coverage and blitz the quarterback. The Packers secondary struggled with some injuries and consistency last year, but they still led the league in interceptions. They had 31, but they gave up way too many yards, and that caused that defense to get tired throughout the ball game. Charles Woodson is a guy that doesn't get old, in my opinion. Future Hall of Famer, one of the better cornerbacks I've seen in my lifetime, and I've seen a lot of football, a lot of cornerbacks, but he's a guy that always has the nose for the football, gets everyone in position. You can move him all around your defense. Where they have to improve is everywhere else. Tramon Williams has to stay healthy. He's a solid corner. Sam Shields has to improve his play. 2 years ago, he was an awesome player. Charlie Pepper does a good job as a backup. As a starter, he was kind of a liability last year, but he did some things well. I look for Morgan Burnett to have an all-pro season. That's just my opinion. I think this guy's a solid safety back there in the center field position. Can they get production out of their rookie, Casey Hayward, ball hawk, out of Vanderbilt? If he can come in and be an outstanding corner, this is going to help that defense out. So you got to give these guys the benefit of the doubt as a healthy unit. Jerron McMillan, another rookie coming in out of Maine, should also see some starting minutes as a safety. If they can stay healthy, if they can stay consistent, this secondary has the playmaking skills to pick off a lot of passes again in 2012. Anytime you have an explosive offense, you're always going to be in the game. You need points to win ball games, and the Packers can score them in bunches. They can score easily 40 points a game, so you're going to be optimistic about the offense. Defensively, you're running 3-4 defense. You have some outstanding linebackers that can get pressure, so you have to be optimistic about that as well. That's why you always will have optimism in Green Bay. Your offense can score, defense can rush the passer, which then in turn creates turnovers, so that way you get the ball back to that explosive offense. There's a lot of reasons for optimism for Green Bay this season. I'm very concerned about the running game. I know in this league you have to have some sort of balance. As much as the Saints throw the football around, they can run the football. Green Bay has to get better in running the football. If they can do so this year, dangerous team in the making. They're already dangerous, but they have to do something in the running game to generate some type of threat out of the backfield. I think Green Bay finished second in the NFC North. The reason why, the running game is still a question mark for me, a big question mark for me. But overall, this team is dangerous. No one wants to face Green Bay at any point in the season. Inside, outside, hot, cold, this team can throw the football all over the field. They just got to get better running it. Defensively, they can get after the quarterback. There will always be a pressure-style defense, and that puts a lot of pressure on opposing offenses. If this team gets into the playoffs, watch out, because they have the pieces offensively and they have the special teams to go out there and make a run and get back to another Super Bowl.